Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Long Story. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, and over the next half hour we focus on the VK Sasikala factor. Sasikala has re-emerged from her jail stint right before the Tamil Nadu elections, and the political landscape in the state has gone into a tizzy this week. A day after Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswami inaugurated a memorial for Jayalalithaa on Chennai's Marina Beach, the state government also turned Amma's residence at Poes Garden called Veda Nilayam into a memorial. The opening ceremony took place with the nod from the Madras High Court. However, the public will have to wait till the hearing is over before they can actually visit the Veda Nilayam memorial.
After the grand unveiling of a monumental memorial to Jayalalithaa on Marina Beach, it's time to throw open Amma's Chennai residence. Veda Nilayam, one of Chennai's most heavily protected sites, the iconic late Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's residence, is now a memorial. In Chennai's plush Poes Garden, just a stone's throw from superstar Rajnikant's own residence, Jayalalitha's 24,000 square foot Veda Nilayam was one place where not even VVIPs could walk in without a personal invitation from Amma. For years it was a heavily guarded, secure residence where one had to go through 3 different checkposts. Once a fortress, today, 4 years after its iconic resident passed away, Veda Nilayam becomes a monument. Veda Nilayam was home to Jayalalithaa for 35 years before her demise and named after her mother Vedavalli. Reports have indicated that Vedavalli bought the property in 1967 for a sum of 1.3 lakh rupees. Following Jayalalitha's death in 2016, the EPS government in Tamil Nadu had taken possession of Veda Nilayam through a promulgated ordinance. And after a 3-year legal battle with Jayalalitha's niece Deepa Jayakumar, who claimed that acquiring Veda Nilayam would hinder the inquiry into Jayalalitha's death because it was from here that she was transferred to the Apollo Hospital in 2016. But with the unveiling now, the dust tentatively settles. The Madras High Court has permitted the Tamil Nadu government to proceed with the unveiling of Veda Nilayam as a memorial, but has not allowed the government to throw it open for public without prior permission from the court. The move is being seen as the second thumping gesture by the AIADMK leadership to curtail Amma aide Sasikala's erstwhile stronghold over the Poes Garden house, which was the ultimate power centre when Jayalalithaa was alive. That the Amma Memorial and Veda Nilayam have been unveiled to the public at the precise time that Sasikala has been freed from prison isn't entirely a coincidence, and heavy ammunition in the legacy war over Jayalalithaa. But in a twist of fate, the EPS government in Tamil Nadu cannot keep Sasikala very far from Veda Nilayam. Theoretically, she can still visit if and when it is open to the public. But more importantly, Sasikala has purchased a property right next door to Veda Nilayam, and a grand residence is under construction that she could soon move into. But there can only be one Veda Nilayam, a little less than a fortress that it once was. With Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
On 27th January, the Amma Memorial was unveiled by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswami amid a sea of AIADMK supporters, and the timing wasn't lost on anyone. It was on the same day as Sasikala's release, and EPS pulled all stops to send out a resounding message that the AIADMK is a united front, and more importantly, he's the clear heir to Amma's legacy.
A sea of red and black at the Marina Beach. Thousands of AIADMK cadre thronging the iconic Chennai location for their Amma. Jayalalitha's mega memorial, that of a phoenix rising from the ashes, unveiled amidst a huge show of strength.
After 2 years of construction with a budget of 79.95 crores, behind us is what you see called as Amma Memorial. This is a place former Chief Minister Jayalalithaa has been buried, and this became a point of significance after the 2017 historical meditation by the current Deputy Chief Minister.
Amma's memorial event reeked of political symbolism. An attempt by Chief Minister EPS to show off who's the boss in the ruling AIADMK.
But then ADMK wants to prove that in Tamil Nadu, they are the boss, and in the upcoming elections, BJP can't have its way, though there is a popular say or the talk that is going around that BJP has always controlled the Tamil Nadu government. But it's no more like that. And that is what OPS and EPS, especially EPS, I would say this is more to do with EPS than OPS to prove his strength.
An effort by the party to put up a united front, a smiling OPS and EPS walking beside each other. And on a day when Chinnamma was released from prison in Bengaluru.
I think for Edappadi, Sasikala is a concern or a competitor. Mr. Edappadi is all focused towards DMK and bringing them down.
From OPS's Dharma Yuddham to Sasikala's vow before heading to jail, Jayalalitha's memorial has been the site of some historic political turning points in the state, and expect the Amma legacy war will only now escalate in the run-up to the Tamil Nadu Assembly elections. With Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
VK Sasikala has ended her 4-year jail term. On 27 January, the AIADMK leader, former aide of Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalithaa, signed documents sent by the prison officials in the hospital, and these papers set her free. The political battleground in Tamil Nadu is abuzz with the dramatic timing of Chinnamma's release. Sasikala is officially free, but she is in hospital as she tested positive for coronavirus. So what will her re-emergence really spell for a state that soon heads into elections?
4 years in jail on corruption charges. 4 years after she was arrested, right before she made a move for the Tamil Nadu throne, Sasikala is free. Jayalalitha's famous aide won't be emerging in public just yet though. She's still in hospital, down with COVID. Sasikala knows well that her mentor's memorial was being unveiled in Chennai on the same day, perfectly timed with her formal release from prison. A sharp message from EPS-OPS on who controls the Amma legacy. But Sasikala's family is already waiting to plug her back into the political battlefield.
Sharing our happiness to you that she has come out. And after getting the advice of the doctors only, we will decide about her when to take back to Tamil Nadu.
Chennai has been agog with talk of the impact that Chinnamma will have in the coming state assembly election. Of course, as a convict, Sasikala cannot contest the upcoming election or hold any office for at least another 4 years. But her release just weeks before the election has set the proverbial cat among the pigeons. When she was convicted in 2017, her former aides in the ruling AIADMK, including Chief Minister EPS, had removed her from party posts. Undeterred by this unceremonious turn of events, a faction led by her nephew TTV Dinakarn came together and launched the Amma Makkal Munnetra Kazhagam or AMMK. The party famously went on to win the assembly by-election in the RK Nagar constituency that was vacated by Jayalalitha's death and secured close to 6% of the vote in the 2019 general election, proving that Sasikala was a force to reckon with. Her return now fuels speculation on whether she can ever patch up with the AIADMK, which disowned her, or the far likelier possibility of pursuing her own path with the AMMK. And despite these memorable images from Jayalalitha's funeral in 2016, observers believe that it is the BJP that has set an ultimatum for the AIADMK against any thought of rebuilding bridges with Sasikala. The EPS camp is putting on a defiant face, but any false moves by them could push Chinnamma into a corner. Of course, after 4 years in prison, it is not yet clear if Chinnamma wants to be in politics at all or lead a quiet life. Even an announcement by Sasikala that she is entering politics, if it came to that, would have its own impact. For now, everyone's waiting for her first word. With Nolan Pinto in Bengaluru and Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
Welcome back. VK Sasikala, the ousted AIADMK leader and close confidant of former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalithaa, was at the peak of her power when she was arrested in 2017. Before the death of Amma, Sasikala was seen essentially as the demure shadow, the person who always stayed in the wings. So when did things really change?
In the early 1980s, Sasikala's husband Natarajan, a government servant then, encouraged his wife to open a video cassette rental and video recording shop in Chennai. And it was her husband who arranged a first meeting between her and Jayalalithaa through the then district collector of Cuddalore, V.S. Chandralekha. Back then, Jayalalithaa was AIADMK's secretary for propaganda. It was in 1984 that Sasikala got a contract to videograph Jayalalitha's political meetings. The leader was impressed with Sasikala's video shoots, and their friendship gradually developed. In 1987, MJR's death left Jayalalithaa distraught. Rocked by personal anguish and political isolation, Sasikala proved a loyal friend for Jayalalithaa.
Jayalalithaa needed very badly a person to take care of her house because she had no other help. She has often said a male politician has his family, his wife, his children and all to run the house. I have nobody. I'm a single woman, I'm not married. So there is no one to help me, and so I need somebody in the house. And so she was kind of relieved of all the burden of, the running the house, the mundane duties and all that. So that is how they became, I suppose Sasikala also became dependent on her for her survival or existence.
After Jayalalithaa became the chief minister, there were strong accusations that Sasikala and her relatives were functioning as extra constitutional authorities. However, Jayalalithaa paid no heed to these. In 1995, Jayalalithaa adopted Sasikala's nephew, Sudhakaran, as her foster son and organized his extravagant wedding, splurging crores and using state government organizations to facilitate the preparations required for 25,000 guests. Although this raised eyebrows everywhere, what was striking was the presence of Jayalalithaa and Sasikala dressed like twins in similar saris and expensive diamond jewelry. That moment marked to the world how close the duo had actually become. A year later, AIADMK lost the assembly elections. Jaya disowned Sasikala after the assembly poll rout, severing all ties. The main cause of defeat was rumors of Sasikala and her family getting rich by wrongful means. Multiple cases are still pending against several members of Sasikala's Mannarguddi clan. In fact, her entire family from Mannarguddi is dubbed as the Mannarguddi Mafia. There were also rumors of Sasikala acquiring land in and around Chennai and Thanjavur, and her assets included movable and immovable property. But then, Jayalalithaa wrote a 14-page letter blaming Karunanidhi for targeting her partner. Days later, when Jaya was sent to jail for colour TV scam, Sasikala accompanied her. It was Sasikala who facilitated the famous 1999 tea party at Delhi's Ashoka Hotel, hosted by Subramaniam Swami, that brought Sonia Gandhi and Jayalalithaa together. In 2001, Sasikala formally joined as the AIADMK General Council member. In 2008, Jaya even exchanged garlands with Sasikala for her 60th birthday celebrations. But in 2011, rumors of a coup led Jayalalithaa to expel Sasikala and 13 others, including Sasikala's husband Natarajan and their relatives, from the party. Sasikala's estranged husband was arrested in February 2012 in connection with a land grabbing case. He was accused of having grabbed 20 acres of agricultural land in a village in Thanjavur. However, 4 months later, Sasikala wrote a letter to Jayalalithaa and publicly distanced herself from her family. She wrote, "Only after coming out of Poes Garden, I became aware of the machinations of my relatives, who have misused my proximity and brought disrepute to Aka and the party. I have no role whatsoever in that. Hereafter, any relative, whosoever it might be, who had conspired against Aka will remain a persona non grata for me as well." And once again, Sasikala rejoined Jayalalithaa.
they have had a symbiotic relationship. It's been a relationship with a bit of a roller coaster, but she's probably the closest person to Jayalalithaa that most people know of. She's an enigma by herself. No one really knows much about what the relationship is, but clearly with a leader of that stature of Jayalalithaa, she was known to be somewhat of a lonely leader, remote. And Sasikala, in some senses, was not only a confidant of hers, but more than just that. She was family. She was a sister. Jayalalithaa talked of her being almost like a mother on it. So there was a special relationship. It got spoiled at some points, but towards the end, they were clearly bonded together still.
In 2016, the spotlight was back on Sasikala after Jayalalithaa was hospitalized. She was one of the very few people who had access to Jayalalithaa in hospital. When Jayalalithaa died, Sasikala took the center stage. She stepped out of the shadows to stand firm and resolute by the casket of her best friend of over 30 years. Dressed in a black sari, she was an image of grief. Standing next to Jayalalitha's mortal remains in Chennai's Rajaji Hall, exactly the same way Jayalalithaa stood next to MGR's body decades ago.
The little that I've seen of Sasikala ji is that she was always there as a shadow for Jayalalithaa ji, serving her every need and looked after her home and her welfare, and never tried to project herself beyond Jayalalithaa. And even in private moments, when we all met, when the three of us met, Jaya ji would always be the center stage and Sasikala ji would be the ancillary person.
Sasikala's husband, Natarajan, who Jayalalithaa vocally disapproved of, was prominently present at the funeral. Jayalalithaa had openly told her partymen not to have any truck with Natarajan. But there he was, within hours of her demise.
VK Sasikala was released from the Parapana Agrahara prison in Bengaluru on 27 January. 4 years ago, we recap what really led to the dramatic turn of events leading up to her arrest.
The night Jayalalithaa died, Palaniswami, the chosen deputy to run state affairs in her absence, was sworn in as the chief minister even before her body reached Poes Garden. Since that night, Tamil Nadu politics, much like the larger-than-life Tamil Masala films, has seen all sorts of drama. At Jaya's funeral, it was Sasikala, the trusted aide, flanked by the infamous Manarguddi clan, who mourned her passing. As befitted the reactions of a first family. The Prime Minister came and consoled her. In his solace was tacit recognition of the passing of a political baton. Yet when the PM left, it was OPS who stood beside Modi, waving at the mourning crowd. It seemed to be the perfect solution. OPS to look after state affairs, while Sasikala, dubbed Chinnamma in the party, to take care of the party itself. A snug arrangement that lasted a bare 2 months. On 5th of February 2017, Palaniswami resigned. As Sasikala fine-tuned her strategy to take over the government. She began to face difficulty in getting an appointment with the acting governor of the state to stake her claim. OPS used this time to mediate at Jaya's memorial. He claimed Amma has helped him hear his inner voice.
Amma wanted me to save the party. Centre wanted me as chief minister. I said no.
In the political battle for control of the state legislature, it was OPS versus Sasikala. Sasikala corralled more than 100 AIADMK legislators into Golden Bay, a leisure retreat, to stop them from running away to the rival camp. While all of this posturing and consolidating was taking place, there came a spanner in the works for Sasikala's political ambitions. On 14th of Feb 2017, the Supreme Court gave the go-ahead for Sasikala's conviction in the disproportionate asset case. As soon as news broke, another powerful AIADMK stalwart, Edappadi Palaniswami, EPS, made his move to take control. The very next day, as Sasikala surrendered to court and made her way to jail, EPS won the floor test in the assembly and became the third AIADMK Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu in as many months. A few months after Sasikala goes to jail, there are allegations that she is getting VIP treatment at the Bengaluru prison where she is lodged. And soon after, this video emerges. The video shows Sasikala walking into the prison through the main entrance. It is alleged that Sasikala is being provided several privileges inside the jail. She is even being allowed to go shopping. It is alleged that Sasikala wore a burqa and went around MG Road, Jayanagar shopping complex and Commercial Street. Meanwhile, in Chennai, with Chinnamma out of the equation, politics is taking new turns. With Sasikala in jail and EPS having replaced OPS as the man in charge of AIADMK and by extension of Tamil Nadu, one would have thought that the time of turmoil was over. But then broke another storm. This again centered around Jaya and her legacy. This time, it was the by-election to the RK Nagar Assembly constituency seat that had fallen vacant because of her demise. Both factions within the AIADMK put up candidates and both laid claim to the two-leaf symbol of the party, resulting in the Election Commission freezing the AIADMK two-leaf symbol till further notice. With Sasikala in jail, her nephew TTV Dinakarn became the party's Deputy General Secretary and the de facto supreme of the ruling AIADMK faction. After months of back and forth, the effort to unite the warring faction takes a new turn when in August 2017, Chief Minister EPS orders a judicial probe into Jayalalitha's death, a long-standing demand of OPS. On 21st of August, the factions within the AIADMK merge. Chief Minister E. Palaniswami makes O. Paneerselvam his Deputy Chief Minister. By September, the now combined EPS-OPS-led AIADMK removed both Sasikala and her nephew TTV Dinakarn from all party posts.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of Long Story. Thank you very much for watching. The news and updates continue right here on India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.